Hi Alex. So for this week's review I'm going to be reviewing The Lesser Blessed by Richard Van Camp. The Lesser Blessed is the story of Larry, a teenage dog-ribbed Indian growing up in small-town northern Canada. I'm pronouncing dog-ribbed phonetically. There is a very good chance that that's not how that's actually pronounced and I'm actually being really offensive right now. The novel is mostly about Larry's high school life, the fights he gets into, his relationship with his best friend Johnny, and his attempts to get into the pants of Juliet. Meanwhile, we slowly find out more about Johnny's mysterious past. In fact, most of the climax of the novel comes from what happened in the past rather than what's happening in the present. And that's really all the plot there is. It's not a very long book. It's literally only 11 pages longer than Tales of Beetle the Bard. Alex, I know this book is on your list of your top 11 books of all time, but honestly, it didn't really do anything for me. I mean, it's not that it wasn't a good book, and it's not that it wasn't well written or interesting, but it just didn't click. It just didn't click? That is the laziest book review ever. Well, I did start this video the day after it was supposed to be finished, so I can't really dispute the laziness point. You are so getting punished for that, by the way. But I read this book because you told me to. You could have said no. Okay, fine, but my point still stands. It just didn't click with this book. But, come on, you gotta have something to say about it. Oh, I like that it's by a Canadian Aboriginal author. That means that I'll probably have to study it for Aboriginal Lit next semester, and you just saved me the trouble of buying another book. Duh! Okay, fine, I'll think of something. So this is one of the books where the backstory is at least as important, if not more so, than the main conflict, and you don't find it out until the end, because it wouldn't be very interesting if you got it all dumped on you at the beginning. But this does mean that pretty much the first half of the book is just Larry's day-to-day high school experience, and it's not very interesting. I don't know if it's because I'm not that far removed from my own day-to-day high school experience, but going through it once was boring enough. Reading about it is another thing. And the thing is, when the book is only about this thick, you need to have different pacing. I mean, Margaret Atwood might be able to get away with 50 pages of no conflict, but in your book is only 100 pages. That's half of your book. Am I supposed to be impressed with your basic math skills? You once referred to math skills as meth skills, so I wouldn't be pointing any fingers. You know what, Dom? Shut up. That's right. Anyway, I also didn't really get attached to any of the characters. I don't know how much of it was because of the length and how much of it was because it's Larry's story, and so he gets all the development while the others are pretty much caricatures. I did like Larry, but it'd be really hard to name anything about the others aside from a few surface qualities. It's really bad with Juliet, who is like the main object of desire for the entire book, but for 75 pages all you know about her is that she wears tight black pants, like every single day. Seriously, like every time she's mentioned, it's like she was wearing my favorite pair of tight black jeans. And I have the same sort of problem with Johnny. We really have no reason that he and Larry become such good friends. I mean, it's explained that they had a conversation that lasted all afternoon, but we're not told the contents of this conversation. Although, given the contents of all their other conversations, it was probably sex. Did you know teenage boys like to talk about sex, and think about sex, and have sex? This is a total revelation. I mean, this could revolutionize the field of teenage boy studies. A lot of this character development is randomly explained towards the end. I mean, we find out that Juliet was abused in grade 8 and that she's not really a slut, but she kind of is. And I don't know, it just seems like kind of out of nowhere. But that's not to say there wasn't anything in the book that I liked. I do like Larry, and I like his narration. And I like the bits where the author breaks away from the standard first-person stuff and goes a little more free-form. You know, usually when he's flashing back to Larry's past, and I do like most of that. I like that his backstory is kind of like foreshadowed, but in a way that is natural, considering that the narrator already knows about it and it's just the reader who's kept in the dark. And while the book is about Aboriginal life in small-town Canada, it doesn't really beat you over the head with its Canadianness. Larry's dog-ribbed heritage is important to who he is, but it's not his defining trait. Ultimately, it's not really a book about growing up Aboriginal as it is just a book about growing up. Didn't I just tell you that in an MSN conversation? Yeah, okay, I kind of stole it from there, but it's still true. Huh, see, I know things. I can be super English major literate too. Don't you have something better to be doing? Not really. Anyways, I'm not denying that this is a good book, and it was definitely a quick and easy read, which isn't a bad thing. But ultimately, I'm just not a fan. Also, what kind of book has bad things happening to puppies as a recurring metaphor? Who wants to be mean to puppies? But I'll give it 3 hot knife-induced blackouts out of 5. Alex, I'll see you next week when you review another book from my list of my top 11 favorite books of all time, Charlotte's Web. This book is probably about the same length, but there's no horribly injured puppies. At least that I remember. Caitlin came in and asked what book I was reviewing. When I told her, she asked, "Is that a super British book? It seems like the kind of book you would read with a British accent." I don't know what part about First Nation noir madness implies super Britishness, but hey, I'll go with it.